What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some r/am I the butthole. And if you love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Now, today's first story does come with an update, and it's from Am I the Arsehole Gym Trainer, who asks, am I the arsehole for refusing to fire my personal trainer per his wife's request? With an update, of course. Throwaway because I don't want this on my main. I, 43 female, hired my trainer Alex, fake name, in mid-2018 through the gym. I asked for someone who understands chronic pain because I've had it for 20 years and need help managing it. Swimming did wonders until my body began to develop negative reactions to pool chemicals, which was why I switched to the gym. Long story short, Alex helped beyond expectation. He helped me improve so much. A few months ago, my doctor actually switched me to milder pain medication and lowered the doses too. So as a token of appreciation, I gave Alex an early Christmas card last week with a $50 gift card. The message was a simple, thank you for your help. Best wishes. Today, I went for solo training and a woman approached me claiming to be Alex's wife. She accused me of getting friendly with Alex and demanded that I ask the gym to switch trainers. I refused and she got aggressive, so I got the staff involved and they removed her. Later I told friends about the incident. They say I was disrespectful and should have honoured her wishes. Though I don't think Alex's wife's insecurity is my problem, I feel bad about possibly getting him in trouble at home. Am I the arsehole? And I'll give you the ETA straight away before the update, and it says, many of you mentioned the possibility of a stalker imposter, and now I'm getting chills. Never even thought of that. I'll give the gym a call first, because if it's a stalker imposter then she might harass other people too. Since I don't have Alex's private number, I'll ask the gym to give him a heads up. Then I'll talk to him when I see him next. And I'll be straight up, that didn't even cross my mind about the whole stalker imposter thing. I'm sure it does happen, and you know, this might be the case in this one. But you're definitely not the arsehole to me in this situation, simply because you're just you hired Alex for his help being a professional trainer, and it seems to be like a friendly and professional relationship between you two. He's helping you with the problem that you're paying him to help you with. So there's no way you're going to be the arsehole in this story. And I'm sure Alex would be furious to know that he was going to lose a client because of an insecure wife, so absolutely not the arsehole to me. But we'll cover a couple of comments before we move on to that update. Florida Poodle School says not the arsehole. You were in a place of business. You are using professional services and have done nothing inappropriate. Her issues are between her husband and herself at home. OP replied saying thank you. One friend said the card was inappropriate because nobody gives gifts to service people. Her words, I'm having a bit of self-doubt right now. And again, absolutely not the arsehole, showing your appreciation to something that you've suffered with for 20 years. I would say that's normal behaviour, and I would encourage that kind of behaviour too, to say thank you to someone that you appreciate that much. You know, you're not falling in love with this person, you're simply saying thank you for what you've done. Mikey Weasel says not the arsehole. So first up, I'd suggest there is a small but non-zero chance that was not his wife, which would make things even weirder. If it's his wife, then it sounds like their marriage is having issues. You are not the arsehole though. It would definitely be worth discussing with Alex and letting him make the call. Maleficent Ad says not the arsehole, and frankly, I'd tell your trainer about this weird woman going up to you and trying to get him fired. Are you sure that's his wife and not some creepy stalker trying to poop on his life? In any case, whatever is going on between him and his wife is something that should remain under their roof and not sucking in other people. So you are not to blame. Spamity Calamity says your friends are super incorrect, not the arsehole. If he doesn't want you as a client, he can inform you to choose someone else. You don't even know if that was actually his wife. Blue Eyed Lemon says not the arsehole. It sounds to me like you found yourself an amazing personal trainer who went above and beyond whatever he needed to do. You're happier in your life and you are medically improving. That's great. It also sounds to me like you have a pretty professional relationship with Alex, unless I'm missing something. You were grateful for his help, so you got him a Christmas present. I'm not sure where the getting friendly is here. I've gotten co-workers Christmas presents before. If you feel like it could be a problem with Alex, maybe talk to him about it. I don't think you need to switch trainers, but if this is causing him problems at home, he may need to do something about keeping you as a client. Just talk it through. Communication is key. Best of luck, OP, and happy holidays. And last reply from OP, who says thank you. I wasn't sure if I should tell Alex because I don't want to stir the pot, but your comment really put things in perspective. I'll talk to him in our next session. I don't think I've been getting friendly with him in any way. I've known him for 2 years and I don't have his number or social media. All communications have either been in person or through the gym. Warm wishes to you too. Now we're going to move on to the update to see what happens. So update. I've got some requests for an update, so here is a quick one. First of all, I didn't get to meet Alex this week. The gym manager informed me on Monday that Alex was taking the whole week off after learning he has a stalker. So my credit Sherlocks were right. She's not his wife. They reassured me they will do everything in their capacity to help Alex and to make sure Miss Stalker stays banned. I went there twice this week and things are fine so far. Hopefully we'll be able to resume our regular training after the holidays. I've also talked to my friends who called me disrespectful. They changed their stance once they learned she was a stalker, but I said it's really irrelevant. We had some back and forth. It was hard getting my point through until I asked how they would feel if their partner went to their workplace and harassed their co-workers or clients. Some of them apologized, one got stubborn and said some not so nice things. I ended up cancelling my holiday plan with them so I can have some time and space to think our friendship over. So that's it. Please know I truly, deeply appreciate all the kind words and support. I was doubting my morals and judgment of character due to the somewhat heated arguments with my friends, but your comments really helped me clear my head, and to my fellow chronic pain patient, my heart goes out to you, and I hope you get all the help you need. Happy holidays everyone, love and peace to you all. So, as the edit said, it did turn out to be a stalker, and I wonder how often this kind of thing does happen. I know stalking happens all the time, but in the gym situation where, you know, these relationships are being built on a professional level, someone's training you on a one-to-one basis. But I guess that could happen in any scenario really. But anyway, what do you guys make of this one? What would you do if you found yourself in that scenario and maybe your friends were doubting you? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below and we'll move on to another story. And our next story comes from Throwaway Sister-in-Law Wedding, who says, am I the arsehole for telling my sister-in-law it would be wrong for me to walk her down the aisle? And again it comes with an update. So this is a bit hefty. My parents kicked me out at 17 and I was taken in by my girlfriend's family. Her dad helped me get my life back on track. I went to college, graduated, got a great job, all because of him. The man was like a god to me. When I married my girlfriend, his wife was pregnant. They had my girlfriend at the age of 19. My father-in-law and mother-in-law died when I was 28. My wife and I didn't want kids that early in our marriage, but we couldn't let her sister Kate just go, so we took her in. Now my wife and I are 48 and Kate is 24 and getting married next year. Her fiance proposed yesterday and as a Christmas gift, she's given us all our roles. My wife was given the mother of the bride role, but will be called sister of the bride. Our daughter is the flower girl and our son is the ring bearer. Her fiance is really close to our kids. She asked me to walk her down the aisle. My father-in-law loved his daughters more than anything. He said that getting to walk my wife was the best moment in his life. Kate asked me to walk her down the aisle and I agreed, but she knew something was off. She asked me why I was hesitant and I admitted that I didn't want to take it from her dad and would rather not do it because it would be wrong, but would still do it for her. She flipped and called me an arsehole for not wanting to do it. She said I should stop clinging to the memory of somebody she can't even remember. I talked to my wife and she said it also felt wrong to her for Kate to erase her parents with us, but I should have kept my mouth shut and just lied. I talked to my cousin and he said I wasn't in the wrong, and I'll cover the mini edit first and then read the update in a bit. So since people think I'm not doing it, I am doing it. I still will walk her down the aisle, I just feel like the wrong person to do it. Her father was an amazing man and I just don't know, it feels like I'm disrespecting him. Now to me in this one, it's an incredibly sad one in some ways, that you yourself don't think you're almost like worthy of taking that role. This man who took you in and raised you as his own and led you towards the life that you have now. And clearly you have a lot of love and respect for that. So put yourself in that man's shoes right now, and what would he want you to be doing? And I'm taking guesses here, I might be completely wrong, and it might be even wrong to say put yourself in this man's shoes, but I think he would want you to walk his daughter down the aisle. This man that you have so much love and respect for, and has so much love and respect for you, who has raised his daughter as his own, and done pretty much the same thing he did for you. I think if there's anyone in the world that they would want to walk their daughter down the aisle, it would be you. You're not disrespecting the man, you're not casting him to the side, you're not doing anything like that. I think it would be a wonderful and respectful thing to do. But also coming from the daughter's point of view, you are the man that's raised her. In some ways, you are the father to her. And that's not disrespecting bio dad, but you've been in her life the majority of the time, and you're the person she knows as father in this role. So it was probably a huge thing for her to ask you to walk her down the aisle. So then for you to question it must hurt a bit. And I'm not saying, you're wrong for questioning it, because, we all have these feelings, Hence why you're here asking now. But before we go to the update, Shuramon4 says you're the arsehole. You are the only dad Kate knows. You have memories of your father-in-law and she does not. The only person you're taking anything away from is Kate. Rumbling1 replies that said, OP, I want you to think about how much time, energy and money this man invested in you. Now I want you to think about how high of an opinion he probably had of you, seeing you succeed after all of his resources were used very well, and he watched you turn into an upright, strong individual. Now I want you to remember that this man is gone now, and that somebody has to walk this lovely young lady down the aisle. If I had to guess, and maybe I am being presumptuous here, but I would assume that if your father-in-law had to pick a man to replace him in this ceremony, you would be at the top of his list. He wasn't God, as you stated he was to you. He was a great man to you. Now honor his memory by being a great man and walk this young lady down the aisle with no regrets or hesitation. Wind River 7 says you're the arsehole. This girl lost her parents at 12, and I think it was 4. And you have stood in the position of father for 20 years. Do you really think that your father-in-law would want to deprive his daughter of a father figure walking her down the aisle? Father-in-law has been gone for 20 years. Life is for the living, and I don't blame your sister-in-law for being angry, but using her dead father as an excuse to not walk her down the aisle, you just have diminished and tarnished the relationship that you had with her for 20 years. Retrograde says, no one's an arsehole here. I understand your position, but you've already played the role as backup dad in her life. I think your father-in-law would be grateful and proud of what you've done. I also think he would be happy to let you walk her down the aisle, as he can't be there. Back in the day, it was normal for brothers and brother-in-laws to take that role when the father and grandfather were dead. You are not disrespecting your father-in-law by walking her down the aisle. You're just acting the patriarch in a good way. In the family role you've been managing since his passing. Bent12 says you're the arsehole, you can't take something from a dead person. She wanted you to have the honour of walking her down the aisle, and you shitted on the idea. How crushing for her. Josie Badcat says you're the arsehole, but gently, her own father is gone and she's asking you to step in, as he stepped in for you years ago. I'm not one to say bride gets everything she asks for, but this should be a simple and immediate yes. She is honouring you. So, update. I guess you guys can count this as an update since everyone is finally asleep now. Kate came home to celebrate Christmas and I pulled her aside after dinner so that we can talk. I pointed out to her that I do love her like my daughter, and I don't want her thinking any different, and that her asking me was the greatest honour of my life. I admitted that I've always felt like I don't match up to her father because I knew him, and even though she didn't, it's hard to feel like she missed out on something so much better because fate was cruel. She gave me a hug and told me her sister and I were the best parents she could ask for. I told her I'd wear her father's watch and mention him in her speech, and she said that was alright. Maybe I was a bit dramatic on this whole thing, but things are good between my sister-in-law and me. And again, I think that's a wonderful update, just communication is key, as always, and maybe wrong of me as well. Some of the you're the arsehole comments in that one had me on edge, and I'm thinking, is that quite right, bash on someone who's feeling, maybe even grieving for their father-in-law, even as a long time ago. As I always say, grief affects us in different ways, and to feel this way as OP did in this story, can you call him an arsehole for that? I mean, he was going to walk her down the aisle, but having these questions in your head, Sure, it should have probably been discussed the full thing there and then rather than waiting a period afterwards, and I do think, it's right for OP to be walking them down the aisle guilt-free. I absolutely 100% think that's the correct thing to do. But what do you guys make of this one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to another story. And our next story comes from Assassinate Throwaway, who asks, am I the asshole for not moving from the bus seat I was using? I, 19 male, have recently torn my ACL, which I believe is a ligament in the knee, to the point where the only way I can move around is with my knee braced up and 2 crutches. I live alone and needed to top up on the essentials, basic food, toiletries and the like, so I took the bus. Due to how difficult it was to walk, I sat in the aisle reserved for elderly and disabled people, as even the few steps from the front of the bus to the back hurt a fair bit. About halfway through the bus journey to the shops, someone, late 40s to 50s female, got on and demanded that I move for her so she could sit in my spot, even when there was a free spot in the elderly disabled area behind her. And though I'm not one for conflict, I told her there was a seat behind her she could use, and I have limited mobility at the moment, so I had a right to use that seat. This resulted in her glaring at me, causing a scene, then sitting down over dramatically. Now the part where I think I might be the arsehole is she kept glaring at me the rest of the time I was on the bus, as well as half of the other passengers on it. So I'm not sure if I did the right thing or whether I should have just moved to please her. So Reddit, am I the arsehole? And we're going to start off with Cam the Devil, who says not the arsehole. That lady could have stood the whole time for all I care. OP replies saying thank you for the response, and even though in my opinion she was being rude, I was just worried I went too far by not budging. Snow White Sludge says, not the arsehole. The worst part about being young and injured is everyone assumes you're still more mobile than they are. There are multiple seats in those areas to accommodate multiple people. She had no more right to that spot than you did, and you acted completely appropriately. You had crutches with you, for goodness sake. OP replies, this addition might change your judgment, but when I was on the bus, I had my coat covering my crutches, so they weren't visible unless you were looking specifically for them, although my brace is admittedly quite obvious. And I don't think, to me, that doesn't change the opinion at all of not the arsehole in this situation. As we know, not all disabilities and stuff like that are visible. So for someone to get on the bus and immediately judge you just for sitting there and judge what's going on whilst you're just sitting there and tell you to move like that is, is a horrible thing to do, especially when there's other seats going on at the same time. Mojo4394 says not the arsehole. Entitled middle-aged woman, not even elderly by any definition, thinks she deserves a seat, being taken by a guy who can barely walk. I would have stared right back at her the entire time. Tommy Guitarra says not the arsehole. The disabled seat exists specifically for injured people too. And then there was just rows and rows of not the arseholes because, the person's injured. They can barely walk, for Christ's sake. And apparently the update has a little twist in there, I've heard. So we're going to move on to that right now. Hi Reddit, it's been a little over a week since my post. I just wanted to, before getting into the update, thank you all for the support. It helped a lot mentally and also helped me with the events which unfolded later. So, on to the update. This morning I had to go out for a physiotherapy session and afterwards decided to go shopping. Thanks to one Redditor for suggesting the use of a shopping delivery service. It has really helped in the last week for stuff I was low on. Anyway, I ended up going to the shops and ran into the old lady and her daughter, who happened to be one of my colleagues from work, Maggie. I have not met any of her relatives and they don't look anything alike really, so I never thought I would run into this lady again. And as it turns out, I don't think she thought she'd run into me again, as her eyes bulged when I walked past her and said hi to Maggie. Apparently, she didn't tell anyone in her family what had actually happened, but a version that was similar to it, but left out a few details, including me not having any issues with my leg, me being stoned and drunk, and me angrily shouting expletives. Maggie didn't know it was me, who her mother met that day, so was none the wiser. But when I told her what actually happened, her beliefs of the situation flipped completely. Apparently, there has been some issues between the two of them recently, and her finding out how her mother treated someone who was unable to stand properly, that was the final straw. So, that takes us to tonight, where I am writing this out beside Maggie after she decided she needed some space from her mum. Just the two of them since her father passed, and she is making sure that I am okay and wants to help me as much as she can. On another note, I have an MRI next week and a follow-up appointment beginning of January. So hopefully, if I need it, surgery is just around the corner and I can get back on my feet again. From me and Maggie, thank you guys. Interesting update there that Maggie's with you, and I wonder if that's a possible love connection for the future. I know they might just be roommates, don't get me wrong. Boys and girls can be friends too, I get it. But I just like the idea of, you know, one day that could be OP's mother-in-law. See you on Just No Mother-in-Law, my friend. But another question that did pop into my head, and I always got to read these out. They just pop into my head randomly, so I didn't think too much on it. But it said just the two of them since their father passed. And the father may have passed a long time ago or more recently. But it did have me question. I wonder if that's why Mum in this situation is acting out of grief maybe. And I'm not trying to make excuses for them. But you know me, and then I always get hate for it sometimes. Like, I like to come from an empathy point of view as well. I'm wondering what that person's going through in their head. Are they suffering as well and acting out on people that they love and random people in the street? Again, not excusing the behavior, but just trying to get some logic behind it. But who knows? Anyway, what do you guys make of this one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and just your thoughts on all of today's stories if you choose to share them. Never any pressure to do so though. You being here, getting involved in the stories is way more than I can ask for. Truly. Thank you so much for your love, time and support. The normal schedule will be back in the beginning of January, and the minute it's the holiday, so I'm with family and all that sort of stuff. Loads of stuff going on at the minute, so I'm sort of like treading water at the moment. Thank you again, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon.